secret location in the city that moves mountains. Greetings.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Or have my fight or flight response triggered, and I'm a flightless bird, baby.
Grand Rising flockers. Goose is like, that wasn't in the format.
No. You guys are okay. I'm just checking the levels and making sure everything's coming through all right.
I can't. I was trying to be as creative as my third cousin Dingy Dave. Y'all heard 2 episodes back.
Well, hey, very good. It is great to be back in the studio with you guys. All of us here together. You're reign supreme over your fight with ladybugs and salamanders. Congratulations.
We won against the salamanders. We have settled with the ladybugs and allowed them in our space.
Yeah, the fight with it was a mutual agreement to disagree.
So you kind of won.
We teamed up against the salamanders together.
Yeah.
Well,
not for the common good.
Well, that is very good. That is very good. Man, this has been a lot. What was the last show we did together? Was that the office show?
Yeah.
I was trying to think this morning.
Yeah.
Like a month.
Life gets in the way sometimes, I guess.
It has been a shit show.
I can totally understand that, and I feel you. I feel you a lot. I've missed you guys. Welcome back.
Yeah, we missed you. Even like last week when we recorded, and it was like, okay, this is weird. First of all, you're next to me. Like, this is.
Yeah.
You liked it.
I did for about 5 minutes, and then you annoyed me.
And then you annoyed me. I like that. Do you have anything to say, Dirtydan?
No, he's sitting there.
Just happy to be here. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Good. Well, I am glad that you guys are here. We've on emails. We're going to start reading some backlog emails next week and probably the week after. The emails we've got today are current, so these are ones that were sent in over the last week or so. So. You guys did a hell of a job last week too. And the one email that you got emotional on, Rebecca, I love that. I am sorry. That was just like one of the best emails.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry. Yeah. He emailed her back again this week.
Oh yes. I already know.
You're ruining one of my stories.
All I said was,
yeah, man. No,
next.
So I am happy that you guys are okay.
We need to get Rebecca a short shit show she shack so that we can record in separate locations and I have the ability to mute him.
Yes. Dirtydan, you're gonna have to get your studio set up again so you'll get out of first base.
I know. Well, the thing is, like when we moved, like, yeah, we gained 50 acres and we gained a barn and all this fabulous space, but we lost like 1,200 square footage and a whole other bedroom and a garage and a back office. So it's
all gone.
It's been a struggle.
Well,
I'll just go in the closet.
Where you belong.
Wow.
Go in the closet.
Are we still good on connection, Goose?
Yes. We are still connected. Something is wacky today with the internet back here on my end, and something is going on with the sound and the board. But I think we are recording because when you talk, I do see levels. So
okay. Well, if I think that I can send you two from my program, like how I send you the videos to upload, right. I think I can just download the sound.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely do that because
I can send you I can send you the 2 files.
Okay. Yeah, I may try that one better to edit. We may get a better sound that way. But you guys are coming through, like I said, so it's a little bit low, but I can, if I have to work with what I've got, I can boost it up when I edit the show and so forth.
Okay.
So we got some emails. Rebecca, if you guys are ready, you're first this week.
Yeah, this one is from Timothy Barry. We don't know each other yet, but I ran across an episode of Here to Chew Bubblegum, and I love what you're building. Thank you. I appreciate that for all of us.
Thank you very much, Timothy.
We're all building
And,
our own little individual things. So
yes, we are. The next one is from Code Red. Goose, Rebecca, and Dirtydan, I need help from your listeners. I saw something unexplainable yesterday, and it was close to an airport. It didn't make any noise and was flying really low, just above rooftops. I'm not sure what it was, and I've never saw anything like this before. It was not an airplane. It was tube-shaped, and at first it seemed to be gliding. After 30 seconds or so, it went straight up at a high rate of speed. I watched my local news that day and searched social media to see if anyone else saw it. I didn't find any reports. I'm not crazy, and I know what I saw. Have you guys or any of your listeners saw anything like this before? If so, please write in and tell me what it was or share your story.
Well,
Dirtydan, I'm going to refer that question to you.
So Code Red.
We were having a fire one night.
Yeah, we were burning some trash on our property, and I look over the house, and I see one light with two lights, and one light with two lights, and one light with two lights.
And then
they started dancing.
And then there was a stagnant light.
And this object was just in the middle of the sky.
Just hovering.
No tower, because the radio towers are over that way. It was that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden shot up.
Yeah.
Just probably a mile.
Nuts.
And then just crept right on over us and then went. And I got most of it on video. And I sent it to the old Gooseinator there. And it
Yes, you did.
No sound.
The
only sound you hear in the video is me losing my damn mind for a minute.
And the wind.
But it was at dusk.
It was crazy.
It was.
It was similar to what he describes in the email.
It wasn't tube shaped. It was like a square.
It seemed more like
but
that.
No.
But it would blink and disappear too, correct?
Yeah.
It never disappeared.
No, it did. It goes away in the video.
Well, in the
video, and then it would. Yeah, then it would come back. I'm still amazed by that video.
Well, didn't you pull up the radar thing that you have, and it like wasn't on there?
There was nothing.
There was nothing
on the flight.
No,
the flight tracker.
We also live super close to a military base too, which is why we struggle with fucking internet. And you actually sent me something interesting on that we can talk about later.
Yes.
All right, Dirtydan.
I just can't get away from nuclear stuff.
Will you read the next email?
So this one is from a loyal listener. It says, "Hello, here to chew bubblegum. First, let me start by saying Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year with many blessings to you and yours. Second, this is my first time writing in. Do you ever get ridiculed by anyone close to you for doing a show? Let me explain. Do any family members or close friends think you're crazy for doing a show that talks about aliens, UFOs, and other things that you talk about? Just curious, Roswell, LL." So, loyal
wait. Rebecca has her hand raised up.
Bob does count.
Bob doesn't count.
Why does Bob not count? He ridicules me all the time and tells me to pull up constantly and calls me the head cuckoo bird. That's how this whole thing that's why I have this. It's because of Bob. Because I am the head cuckoo bird.
It's been a minute. You gotta put it down some.
No, because it's fine. It sits better here. Yes, constantly ridiculed. Get told to pull up.
Just her by her father doesn't really count.
How does that not count?
Because it's Bob.
It's a family member.
And he told
I think it counts.
Thank you, Goose.
You're welcome.
It's also like it's not like a distant relative. It's like, it's my fucking father.
But does your brother say anything bad like that?
Yeah, Tom also thinks that I'm crazy.
Does he?
Yeah, because he's mini Bob.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But your mom doesn't.
No, but your mom thinks I'm a little crazy on some of the stuff. Your dad does not like having conversations with me about flat Earth.
No, because he was in the Air Force.
Wow.
He was a missile air commander. There's been shit beat into his head that will never leave no matter what. It doesn't matter.
But we can still have the conversation.
He doesn't want to.
Yeah, well, that's clear.
None of my family thinks I'm crazy. They've known I'm crazy for a long time now. None of them's actually said anything. They find it interesting that I do the show. I think most of them find it more interesting that we're on all the platforms that we're on.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Really, you have all these fucking followers. You have all this shit. Especially like when my accounts were huge. My dad was like, "I can't." I'd like, really? Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, and that's the same as me. You know, they're like, "How did you do this?" I'm like, "Well, you know, it wasn't me. You know, it was the people that listen, and it just, you know, it spread like wildfire."
see that? Yeah.
Where's the camera?
It's not. It's the monitor.
Dirtydan, what about you? Does people think you're crazy for doing the show?
I mean, I'm also the guy that tastes the fluid on dipstick and stuff to see if there's other contaminants in there. So yeah, everybody thinks I'm fucking crazy.
Whoa, back up just a minute. You taste fluid on dipsticks.
You're like oil,
Mhm.
like you taste
Yeah.
oil. You can tell if there's fuel or gas in it. You can tell if there's coolant in there. You can tell if there's, you know, like what they've done. If it's a motor that's been stalled out for a while.
You know a good mechanic when you bring him a vehicle and you're like, "Yeah, it's leaking," and he goes and dips his finger in the puddle on the ground and licks it.
And you can really tell that way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have never heard of that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now that leads up to a second question for you.
Oh god.
Let's say me and you're out in the wild, okay,
Oh, God.
and we see a pile of dung there.
No.
Oh, you have to let me
Immediately no.
finish. You have to let me finish. Could you pick it up and just lick it and identify the animal, how big it is, how much it weighs, where's it
Again,
at?
You
so-
should be able to identify animal shit without
Well,
licking it.
Again,
Yeah,
I refer back to my
but
first answer. No. But yes, I can tell bear scat from deer scat and rabbit scat.
Well,
and
yeah, definitely.
coyotes
definitely.
and, you know,
So,
I'm just gonna move on to the
without
next
tasting
email.
what they had last Tuesday. All right.
Rebecca, the next email is yours.
Okay, so this is from an anemone. No, that's not the word I want. Anonymous. There we go. From an anonymous viewer. Goose, I've written in before and was an early listener, then stopped listening and recently heard a show where you discussed an email that I sent in January. I'd like for you to withhold my name, but I do want to apologize to you. I was upset that you didn't mention George Floyd on the show and that you and Cronkite talked about things happening when talked about things happening in 2020. I'm not sure the show date, but it was earlier this year. At first, I thought you were racist for not mentioning George, but now I realize that wasn't the case. I humbly apologize and realize that as a person of color, I was too quick and judged you unfairly. I wanted to say that I'm sorry.
Did you know? And first of all, thank you very much for that email. When I read that, I had tears in my eyes because, you know, I had mentioned that before on the show, and, you know, we were doing a year-end review show. And when we do it this year, you know, we may mention, and I'm sure Dirtydan will mention Demi Lovato and her show coming out as a year-end review type thing. But, you know, we were mentioning stuff about UFOs and, you know, stuff that we talk about on the show. We wouldn't talking politics. We wouldn't talking, you know,
Right.
all this and that.
We're not that kind of show. So it wasn't that we weren't paying any respect or making any disrespect to them. It's just simply not in our forte because that's not what this show's about.
It's not on our radar.
Exactly. Exactly.
UFOs, though.
Oh, shit. Send you for that one.
Obi of the Strange. It's been a while since we've heard from him. He says, hello, it's Obi. It's been a while since I've written in. I wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. Thank you very much, Obi. Merry Christmas to you as well.
And then we have a Luke Fugit fan. Did I say it right this time, Goose?
Yes, you did,
I
sir.
was practicing. Greetings and salutations here to Chew Bubblegum. Who thinks we should bring together some ideas and form the next big time travel machines? There's a lot of smart people out there, and I really think we could do it. Question mark. We need to start thinking outside the box and get this done. Who's in?
I have a story. Can I tell a story? Can this be one of my stories?
Do.
Can this be one of my stories?
Well, then let's do a wrap up and save it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
listen, we do our wrap up and then the floor is yours.
Then let's go.
okay. I want to thank all the listeners for writing in. You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396. That's 606-373-3396. Or they can email. How can they do that, Dirty Dan?
Well, they can email you at goose@bubblegum.com. They can email me at dirtydan@heretruebubblegum.com. They can email this one, the Queen of the Flock, at rebecca@heretruebubblegum.com. You can email into the show, Ned or Elliot, at heretruebubblegum@yahoo.com. And Goose, I would just like to say, on episode 56, I loved that message, anonymous message to Justin Perkins.
Oh, yes. Well, we actually have someone calling in on the show phone. I have no idea who this is.
Is that
Hello,
gonna mess up
you
your
are
hot
on Here to Chew Bubblegum with Goose, Dirtydan, and Rebecca. Who are we speaking to?
Hello, gang. How's it going?
It is good. It is good.
This is Bowling Cox.
Oh, shit. We have Bowling Cox on the line, on the phone. Welcome very much, Mr. Cox.
How you doing? How you doing, Goose? I had to call and check on you because I didn't hear from you last week.
Yeah, well, we are doing good. It's been busy at the cookie factory. How's things going on the trail?
Oh man, it's holiday flitter season. Going good.
Hey, very, very, very good. We all enjoyed your Christmas list that you sent in last
Oh,
week.
yes.
Those youngins, they was real happy to hear their letters read, and they're looking forward to getting their gifts in.
Well, that is awesome, Mr. Cox. It is an honor to have you on the show.
I'm fangirling.
Oh, it's an honor to be on the show.
Rebecca is having a fangirl moment.
Hey, I've been wanting to call in for so long. It's just I ain't always got cell service out here on the trail, so you know. I figured where it was the holidays and stuff, I'd try to get to where I could call in and maybe talk to you guys. Just thoroughly enjoy the show. All of us do out here on the trail.
Well, thank you very much, and you have made our day by calling in. I mean, this is awesome. Dirtydan, you seem to be speechless. What do you have to say to Mr. Cox?
Mr. Cox, it's an honor and a pleasure to finally meet you over the phone, sir.
Oh, it's nice to meet you, Dirtydan. Before I forget, and in case I get cut off here, Marcia Sue Jane was wanting me to ask you about your plump juicy sausage video and why ain't you done it yet?
Yeah, Dirtydan, answer the question.
This contest is coming up, and she's needing help trying to get her sausage just as plump as yours.
Oh, God.
You know what? We got to go to the grocery today. I'll make sure I get everything we need, and I'll get it out tonight.
You don't have to be in no hurry. The contest ain't until the end of the year, but she's real worried about it, and I'm sure, as you already know, she's took to you real good, like.
I've picked that up a little bit.
Now I keep telling her that you've got a wife, and she knows, and she just don't seem to care.
Thanks.
Well, if it's any help, the wife has made her way to lesbian TikTok and seems to like it. So
now Rebecca has got a lot of fans up here on the trail too. Little Billy Steve Donnie Ray, woo! That's all he talks about is the flock and how he would love to meet the queen of the flock, and he's on the tiki-talkie and all that, and just you guys don't really know how many fans you have out here.
And we appreciate every single one of you guys. Honestly, like I speak about this all the time. Like if it wasn't for the flock, if it wasn't for the listeners, like what would we be doing?
Cutting wood.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, if it wasn't for the listeners, if it wasn't for the flock, if it wasn't for people like Mr. Cox that's calling in, I would just be sitting in a room talking to myself. So,
now,
well, guys, I won't hold you on here any long. I know you're recording. I just wanted to. My wife, Marcia Sue James, she wanted me to ask you guys what you all thought about this Ghislaine Maxwell.
Guilty. Hanger.
Rebecca.
I think that it's ridiculous that it's just coming out now. I think that part of the whole thing is a giant fucking distraction because they're getting all the right, like whatever the mainstream media is pushing this hard, that watch this hand while this hand does something else, right? So yes, guilty, yes, like all of that, but we need to also objectively like take a step back and pay attention to what is happening while everybody is distracted with this.
Ditto. Well, Mr. Cox, thank you very much for calling in. You can call in anytime you want to. Please be safe out there on the trail. And I have just a little bit of advice for you before you go. If you catch it, see a doctor and get rid of it, and don't trust Whitey.
I will keep that in mind. Guys, thanks for taking my call today, and I will definitely be calling back. I just right quick before I go, I want to mention Justin Perkins.
Yes,
and I talked to Clara Faye Dawn day before yesterday, and she's working on a new poem for him. We're going to try to get that in for next week's show if y'all record next week.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely be recording next week.
I mean, she just gushes over him, if you know what I mean.
Oh yes.
Isn't he going to be coming next week?
Yeah. Justin may possibly be here next week. So if we get that poem in, we'll actually if Justin is able to make it, we'll actually let him read that.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll make her. She'll gush double time on that
one. Just make sure you wear your muck boots, Bowen.
Say that one more time, Dirty Dan.
Just make sure you wear your muck boots then, Bowen.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Definitely wear the muck boots. Well, Mr. Cox, thank you very much for calling in. Please be safe out on the trail. You have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Please call back in again and keep those emails coming.
And my sausages.
You too, guys. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Talk to you later, Mr. Cox.
See you later.
Oh, man. I had no clue. That was awesome.
Was that
the show phone started ringing? It was a number came up, and underneath it said Colorado. So I'm like, okay. So
because his voice sounded like the same one that left Perkins the email or the voicemail.
That could possibly have been him. So I'll have to go back when we take break there and see if that was the same number that come up. So, Mr. Bowling Cox, what do you think about that?
Yeah, wow.
What an honor and privilege.
When you said you had a call coming in, I thought it was going to be Rodney.
So you were getting ready to tell us about a story, Rebecca. What did you just go ahead and take it away?
Yes, did we get through all of our things? Okay, what was my story about? Oh, it was in regards to the last email. So for the time travel machines. Okay, I need to talk about this. This thing happened to me on the so we bought this new property, right? And we didn't know until the appraisal came back that there's a whole second barn on the property. It's not an unusable barn. It's very old and dilapidated and like structurally not very sound, right? Like don't go into loft.
Very big.
And it's not very big. So one day, it was shortly after, it was like our first week or so here.
Well,
because the bridge was still the bridge was still closed. Yeah. So I had to take like the back road to go to the grocery store. And I got to the end of the driveway and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to go look at this barn. So I parked and turned off my truck and I paid attention to the time because it was 12:43 because usually I catch it at 12:34, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4. And it was transposed. And so I was like, fuck it. I'll go to the barn. So I turned off the truck. Now I had to walk down the road because
it's almost a half mile.
Yeah, like it's like a half mile down past the driveway. And as I'm walking down the road, whoosh, goes by me, right? This dude on a bicycle. And I distinctly remember this. It was a yellow bike. He had on a red coat, no helmet, right? I was like, good luck, bro. Like in my head, like the roads are fucking iffy back here. You know. And so I have to hop the fence, the gate, to get into the barn. I'm tooling around the barn. Like I go out the back, I come back over the gate, and I cross the creek there, and I go down the other side of the creek. And I'm like, fuck, like I got to get going. Like I've been here for like 45 minutes. Like Chris has no idea where I am. I have no service whatsoever. I get back in my truck. It is 12:59. There's no way that I walked down the street, hopped the fence, fucked around in the barn, collected some glass jars, came back out, hopped the fence, went back down by the river. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way that I did that in 16 minutes. Okay. So I was already losing my shit a little bit. Then I'm driving down the back roads. Okay. And there's only like 2 roads like out of here. It's not like a cul-de-sac where you can like make a loop.
No, there's one road out of here.
Oh, there's one road. Well, and then you had to turn though on the other road. You had to
turn either way.
Oh, okay. But listen, and so
Dirtydan, let her finish her story. Quit interrupting.
So I'm driving down the road, and coming the same direction that he was going was the fucking biker with a yellow bike and a red coat and no helmet. And I was like, I literally lost my shit for a second. I'm like, there's no fucking way. I was like, the barn's a time portal. The barn's a time portal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
it's at least 100 to 150 years old.
I got to look for rocks at the corner. The rocks will tell me. I'm trying to find a date on the barn.
They're not going to do that. Look on the main beam for it to be inscribed.
No, if there's rocks stacked.
Oh.
There's a certain, I got to go back.
They probably put the date.
Yeah, I'm going to have to come down and check out this barn.
Yeah.
And you just got to stay and wait for shit to fly over our heads silently.
Yeah. Well, other than the video that you captured when you first got down there and you were burning trash and stuff, have you saw anything else?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Similar items.
They on your property that you have, and please don't say exactly where you're at. Don't say the name of the base, but how many miles are you from that base? 12.
Yes.
Have you felt anything weird, like if you've been walking in the field and felt like the earth move or shake underneath you, or?
Yes.
Really?
I thought I just like lost my footing.
Right.
But I was on flat ground.
That could be like part of their dumb system at the at the base.
Who knows how far underground their stuff goes?
Right. That's what I'm saying. The deep underground military base, dumb.
On the map.
Yes. Dumb is on the map. You are correct. You are correct.
On the map, but now it is.
No, it is.
No, it was a joke. Dumb ain't on the map, but now it is because
it's also right under the jump gate to Mars, and it's next to the CIA, which stands for Clowns in America. True. And then all of that is under Area 51 with the deep underground bases, and it's in between Q and Inner Earth.
Right.
Just saying.
I agree with what Justin Perkins said 100% about Q. I felt that way in Antifa and all that. So,
what's that? You think it's just a bunch of BS?
No, they're domestic terrorists.
No.
Oh, yeah.
To an extent. I believe that it was hijacked and taken over and turned, but there are parts of Q that are 100% fucking accurate, and the white hats trying to come out and fucking take shit over, and then Q was hijacked. Anything with a date on Q was bullshit, and it was a distraction.
What do you think about? I guess it was. It's been over a month now when the people met at Daily Plaza in Dallas. Because Q told him JFK was going to come back.
It was a date, though. It was a date, so it was bullshit.
So, what do you think, Dirtydan?
I think JFK Jr. is just flying around somewhere.
Oh, so
JFK is just losing his mind. So,
oh, too soon. Oh.
I wanted to make that joke so badly when I heard it being talked about with Justin Perkins. I'm sitting in the service truck listening to it, and I'm just telling all these jokes to myself and laughing and having it. And I think that's honestly why I then messaged you guys that I enjoyed the episode so much, is because I just made myself like I was there. And
you were laughing, cracking jokes, telling all that stuff. So, Rebecca, are you finished there with the you had the story 1 in segment 1? You have anything to add before we move on?
I just need to figure out how to work the time portal on my barn. Stop touching my things.
Stop touching my things.
Don't touch it. So yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That was my
Dirty
story.
Dan, what do you have for us?
Well, I have about 10 to choose from.
Just one.
Well, I need 3, but yes, I have one. So I have the first one is from tweakdown.com, and it was written or published Friday, and it's about a UFO investigator that is claiming, kind of with substantial or evidentiary circumstances, that U.S. government's hiding vital information.
Why don't you switch with me and I'll go handle that and I'll be back while you do your story.
Okay.
And
Sorry.
Musical chairs.
Yeah,
you're
I'm
totally
on
fine.
tight.
Queen of
We
the
got
Flock
tight.
is, aka Rebecca, is taking a break. Dirty Dan is going to continue with his story. Again, they are recording side by side, not in different rooms like we're used to. So Dirty Dan is now sitting back down in his chair. Well, he's actually sitting in Rebecca's chair. So
Tripping over my chair.
Dirty Dan, take it away.
So, an investigative filmmaker has appeared in an interview to discuss how the U.S. government is reportedly hiding information on unidentified flying objects from the public. Jeremy Corbell appeared on Fox News Primetime following a showcase of a recent UFO sightings video obtained and released by TMZ. Corbell states that the UFO sightings have increased from both the public and the military, and that no one can confirm if the flying objects are extraterrestrial. But there is a universal concern for objects of unknown origin flying in restricted U.S. airspace. Excuse me. Corbell added that at the moment, the U.S. government doesn't know the intent of the objects, and that is of serious concern. The investigative filmmaker says that the U.S. military has confirmed there's been an increase in UFO sightings. And as legislation is being pushed through that is aimed at bringing more transparency to the topic, allegedly, that the analysis of the data that has already been acquired suggests that some of the UFOs are transmedium, meaning they can travel in air, sea, and space. Then there's a link to the video in that. My concern with that is that, they have the new special UFO group, task force, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
There's still no clarity if it's supposed to be expanding on the transparency that they were going to give in June, or if it's complete privacy, like if it's just a government project. There's $770 billion that got dedicated in 2021 to this. And there's an estimated $1.1 billion that'll be coming in 2022 for it. Why? What are they going to do with all that money?
They're going to go out and buy some $40,000, $50,000 hammers.
Maybe I can get one.
Maybe.
I'm actually kind of happy my nose looks better, because I was at work. I was swinging a mini sledge, and I broke it. And the 4-pound head came up, smacked me in the nose, and it was just bloody for a minute.
Oh man,
the past couple of days.
man, I'm glad you're okay. And
so what did I do? I cut the handle, put the head back down, and drilled a bolt through it.
What did you do about your nose? Did you wrap it up? Did you grab it, fall down in a fetal position, and go, "Oh, my nose"?
No, I just took paper towel, shoved it up there, and kept going.
So you like shoving stuff in your nose hole, do you?
Yes.
And for those of you listening, the sound may be a little bit different. I think that the internet finally, for some reason, maybe kicked back in, and you've got a really crisp sound now. When Rebecca does come,
angelic voice.
Yes. When she does come back, tell her to send the audio part. She can even send the video as well, and I'll be able to stitch the first part and this part here together. So I want to apologize to the fans for that. If the first 32 minutes is a little bit off, that was nothing to do with us, but That was the government messing with our Wi-Fi, with our Wi-Fi signal. They're trying to shut us down. They don't want the truth getting out there that you hear on Here to Chew Bubblegum.
Oh, yeah.
Moving on, retired Israeli general claims aliens exist in the United States, made contact years ago. The former head of Israel's space security program has sparked worldwide headlines following a shocking interview in which he claimed that humans have made contact with aliens and that their existence has been kept secret at the behest of the Galactic Federation of Extraterrestrials. The wild assertions were reportedly made by Ham Astad in a piece published by the Israeli newspaper, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of the newspaper. In the interview, the retired general, who is now an esteemed professor, told the reporter that the United States and Israel have been in contact with ETs for quite some time. He also went on to say that there is an agreement between the United States government and the aliens. They signed a contract with us to do experiments here. Part of the unsettling pact, he said, includes the secret underground base on Mars, which is staffed by a team of ETs and Americans. Remarkably, Estad revealed that President Trump had been poised to reveal this information to the public, but was stopped when the Galactic Federation, which presumably governs intelligent species in the galaxy, intervened and requested that such a disclosure not occur at this time. Their reasoning, he explained, is that humanity isn't ready and that the mass hysteria could unfold if the veil of secrecy was lifted. As for when disclosure might occur, he somewhat vaguely indicated that the Galactic Federation has been waiting until the day for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. While the entire tale sounds like a fantastic theory, a UFO enthusiast or conspiracy buff, his stature as the former head of Israel's space program for 30 years gives his account undeniable credibility. He was also credited in changing attitudes within academia for his decision to go public with these revelations. Had you heard about that, Dirtydan? And if so, what do you think about it?
I heard about like the last half of what you were talking about there, because of an article I was reading. We've already talked about the one, the media. The charge of media that wrote the deathbed confession.
Right.
Okay. Retired general. The guy's up there. What is he? Late 60s, early 70s, I think.
Yeah.
As these guys are getting older and older and their give a fucks are going down, I think we're finally going to start to get more little snippets of it. And then what you and Justin, and then mentioned it to Elliot, had talked about is, I don't agree with Justin so much with, once these guys are dead and gone, about, all the key players like H.W. Bush, Cheney,
right.
Rumsfeld, like that thing. I do think just one day it's going to be an information overload dump on all of this stuff.
Now, do you think the information is going to come voluntarily, or somebody's going to hack some stuff and expose it and dump it that way?
I think both. I think hacking is going to play a part of it, but I don't think it's going to be the hacker to do it. I think they're going to get themselves put in a situation because of all the lies and deceit they've had over the years, that they're going to get blackmailed, honestly, and put into a corner. And there's not going to be any talking their way out or backing out of it. It's either you're going to do it or we're going to do it. And if we do it, everything's coming. If you do it, you still have a chance to keep some of the stuff you don't want out there.
That makes sense.
I honestly feel that.
Since we've took a break and we didn't, and I love you guys, answer last week to one of the emails, and we didn't really get a vacation. It was work. There is so much stuff that, I have got a bunch of material, saved stories and stuff that we could probably talk about for the next couple of months because so much has come out. And briefly, one thing I want to mention and get your opinion on: did you see the I think it was China have spotted a hut or some type on the moon, but they were going to move the
not a hut.
Okay.
3 confirmed structures is what the total is right now.
Okay, so it's 3 structures. Okay. Yeah. See, the article I read must have been early because they said it was a hut and they were going to move closer to see and make and
they saw it in the picture.
Out.
And when they moved closer, they discovered there's 3 structures there in a triangle shape.
Okay. Now, so I'm going to have to go back and check that out. But I think that is pretty cool because even when, they were first spotted and they thought just one was there, they were saying that, and this is, U.S. scientists and so forth were saying it could be a rock formation or moon boulders or moon rocks, but you wouldn't be able to tell until they move closer. And this one particular article I read said that he wouldn't be surprised if it was a hut. So, or structure.
I think they called them outposts.
Okay.
Like small, like hut-like
right.
buildings, not stone, made out of stone.
Now, I am not going to...
They have a foundation on them.
Really?
Yes.
Please, when we get done with the show, forward me that article if you don't care. Now, I'm not going to say that could be a Nazi outpost, but we have, I talked about before the Nazis and space travel and this and that. And
so Paul, or I think this one's Paul, not Rodney, asked about Project T1. And he said T1 is supposedly the story of the transferring of Prometheus-like consciousness into AI, and all done by the Nazi scientists. And T1 was mentioned in an article I was reading. I'm going to say for the Antarctica episode because it talks about the moon and Antarctica.
Okay.
But it's about a Nazi outlook station on the moon.
Wow. That's
so I want to dive more into that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, we're going to step away and we're going to have the Mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth. And then this particular one, this is also the same one that's on the radio show this week. Mr. Haunted, I think, is the guy that's reading his name, and it's dedicated to the Earl Mullins, the Bigfoot hunter that did Mystery Appalachian Mountains with Seth, who passed away a few weeks ago. Then we'll have an Ed Said, and we'll come back in segment 2 with some more interesting stuff. I'm going to talk about Einstein versus Truman, and NASA
waiting for this.
detected a parallel universe. And then Dirtydan and Rebecca both have some stuff for us.
I don't know if she does, but I have plenty.
Okay, good. Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in just a moment. What are we listening to, Dirtydan?
You are listening to the sultry sweet sounds of Here to Chew Bubblegum.
Move, bitch, get out the way, bitch, get out the way, move, bitch.
Hey everybody, it's John the Bod, aka the Bodfather. I have a new podcast entitled Beyond the Paranormal, which is on every Tuesday night on Beyond the Paranormal YouTube page, and we'll be streaming shortly on our Facebook page as well. If you want some information on the paranormal and cryptids such as UFOs, Bigfoot, Dogman, come and check out Beyond the Paranormal every Tuesday on Beyond the Paranormal podcast YouTube site, and also soon on our Facebook page. Keep checking back, folks. We're going to have a lot of great guests, a lot of great information. Have a good one.
Are you a horror movie fan? Yeah, I dig horror movies. Are you searching for a great internet horror talk radio show to listen to? Why, sure, that sounds quite spiffy. Then you need to tune into deadpit.com. It's the original horror talk radio show. Dead Pit is a show by the fans and for the fans. Uncensored and unbiased opinions are the goal of the show, giving fans honest reviews on new films and vintage classics of the horror genre. Make deadpit.com your #1 horror station destination.
This is Mr. Haunted with your Bigfoot story for today. In honor of Earl. This was summer of 1993 in Madison County, Kentucky. It was July of 93. I was hiking up Bear Mountain near my family's home in eastern Kentucky. I had just bought a pair of binoculars and wanted to try them out on a high view. As I rounded the cliff, I was looking down this hollow that leads into a briar thicket. I had been hearing this odd tapping noise all the while and saw this dark brownish figure near a log close to the thicket, some 250 yards away, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. At first, it looked like a rare sighting of a black bear, but when I looked at it through the binoculars, I couldn't believe what I saw. It was sitting on a log with its back to me, with a rock in its hand, beating on the side of the log. It had a back that looked almost 3 feet wide, and it was covered in short, thick, reddish-brown hair. It looked like a giant hair-covered man with no neck. With the binoculars, I could see in good detail. The hands looked human, the fingers and a thumb, the skin a dark grayish color. The head was conical, like a lowland gorilla. Suddenly, this thing must have smelled or sensed me, because it stood up and looked in my direction. It had a bulged forehead near the eyebrow, large round dark eyes, and a flared gorilla-like nose. The jaw was slightly long, and the nose and eyes were free of hair. The skin a dark gray, but the mouth and chin were covered in hair like sort of a hairy ninja hood. The creature was huge. I later looked at a tree it was standing near, and it was about 7 feet tall. It stared up the mountain at me and made a peculiar motion with its head, waving it from side to side, and seemed to hunch over a bit with its arms dangling at its knees, and then turned and dashed off through the thicket. I never saw it again.
It's now time for Ned Said on Here to Chew Bubblegum.
An 18-year-old can legally adopt a 17-year-old.
From the heart of Appalachia, located under a shopping mall near the city that moves mountains, you're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum with Goose and Dirtydan.
And welcome back to Here to Chew Bubblegum with Goose, Dirtydan, and Rebecca. Rebecca had to step away just a little bit, so you've got me and Dirtydan there. Before we move on, I want to tease a little bit. Coming up, hopefully before the end of the year, and this is news to you, I've not had a chance to tell you this yet. We have an interview that I'm trying to get scheduled with someone that was on the train on January 14th, 2002, from the Paintsville train versus UFO incident, and he has agreed to come on the show on a recorded interview. I will
Really?
I will be referring to him as Pete. That's not his real name, and I am going to put an effect over his voice because, for safety concerns, he does not want anybody to know who he is. Hopefully we'll have that interview before the end of the year, and I have sent him a list of questions, which he has approved, and we'll have that coming up, hopefully, like I said, before the end of the year. I have checked him out. He's 100% legit, and he was, in fact, on the train. I have been able to find that out. So,
Well, that's pretty cool. Was he in the back?
I'm not really sure where he's at, but he's going to tell us exactly what happened that night. So, fingers.
I was going to say, DJ and Paul Hemphill, Dr. Andrew Zelenko, and Clay Clark are all ready and open to kick off the new year.
Okay.
Coming back with us.
Good. And I'm glad you're feeling better, man.
There was 3 days there where I honestly thought I might have to go to the hospital.
Really?
Like I was like having hallucinations, could not get up. It was rough.
Now, did it affect Rebecca the same way?
No.
Did
totally different.
Really, and that's something that I've always said that's weird about it is that it affects everybody differently. And
like my test came back and they said I had walking pneumonia.
okay,
Her symptoms were COVID.
okay,
I had no COVID symptoms.
really, you just had the pneumonia and the
Yep. Flu. It was a terrible flu.
Yeah, and this new strand that's come out that I've not looked. I've not wasted my time looking information up on it. I did watch a video that was like 2 minutes explaining that it's not as bad, I guess you could say. And people that's in the medical field may not like that, but it doesn't mutate or whatever. Who knows? But I was told by someone close to me that there's only been one person that has died of it worldwide since this has been spotted. And I do think that we had a confirmed case
in Kentucky last Sunday.
Yeah. So,
but as far as that shit goes, I believe it just as much as I believe that the gain of function research done in the Wuhan lab wasn't gain of function research out of Fauci's mouth. So.
Yeah, like I said, man, I've not been following that. It just it's just funny how it affects everybody differently. I do find that, and I understand. We're not the same, but right. I mean, when I had it last year, I mean, I smoke. Yes, I shouldn't do that, but I had a fever, and I was really weak, and that was it.
I mean, I had a fever for all of 2.5 hours.
Okay.
That was it.
I had a fever for probably about 7 days.
Yeah, no, 2.5. I went to bed and I started getting really hot and cold and started sweating profusely. Woke up an hour later, the bed was soaked with sweat.
Now, are you sure it was sweat and you did not piss the bed?
I can't piss that much.
Okay. Are you sure?
100%.
Okay.
I've tried.
I will tell you a funny story. Last week, or week before last, I'll tell you this real quick. Me and my better half were in Pigeon Forge Christmas shopping, and we ate at the Olive Garden. And there was these people. She took a phone call while we were eating, and the people behind her were eavesdropping. Because I was like sitting against a wall. She was in front of me at the other booth. People behind her had their back turned. And I could tell that the guy was eavesdropping because he kept like turning around, turning his head. And then the other lady, I could see her scoot over. And so when she hung up the phone, I said, hey, I said, those people are eavesdropping. And I'm like, just go with it. Just go with it. So really loud, I say, well, the cocaine will be in at the end of next week. Have you heard from Marco? I'm going to get in touch with Marco. Her face turns blood red, and she's like, shut up. So I'm like, no. I'm like, we're going to give these people a story to go on. They'll be telling people this for the rest of their lives. So when the waiter comes back, they move tables because they get up. The waiter packs their food. As soon as the guy stands up, he looks at me and he goes, hello, sir, puts his head down and walks by us, and they're at a totally different part of the restaurant. So.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was.
Oh, okay. And then I got her again, too, because one of the stores we went to, they asked her email address, and before she could say anything, I said it was monkeybuttliquor@yahoo.com.
Oh, God.
And, yeah, that kind of embarrassed her. So, you want to start out segment 2 for us, Dirtydan?
Yeah, I can. Monkey butt liquor.
Yes, at yahoo.com.
Everything all right?
Wow.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, my first story is about Elon Musk predicting the timeline for Spacex to land people on Mars. Because I also want to talk about that Starlink thing.
Okay.
I looked up that picture. Did Elliot send you that picture from the Dairy Queen? Did he ever send that to you?
I think he may have. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he may have.
They are not the same.
Okay.
That was not the Starlink stuff.
Okay.
So, anywho.
Before you read, do you want to switch?
Give her seat back.
We got to play musical chair. We're not set up for this yet.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with that.
So, Time Magazine recently awarded SpaceX and Tesla CEO Elon Musk Person of the Year. And according to the interview, Musk dropped a rough timeline for when he thinks SpaceX will land on Mars. During that interview, Musk was asked a wide range of questions that touched on a variety of different topics that hurt, ranging from cryptocurrency to his pursuit of Mars. Musk outlined why he backs Dogecoin over Bitcoin, while recognizing the positives and negatives of both assets. Time article states that Musk's dream is to create a 100-person rocket that is capable of transporting humans from Earth to Mars and back by refueling using resources from the red planet itself. Musk was asked what he thinks the timeline on that becoming a reality might be. Musk replied after a long pause, "I'll be surprised if we're not landing on Mars within 5 years." Musk has been a long promoter of interplanetary life, and the next great step for human civilization is colonizing another world. While it certainly would be a monumental milestone for all of humanity, Musk also argues that there is utility in colonizing another world, as Earth may not be around forever. I also have that I should have gotten up during the break. A really, really neat, interesting, humbling quote from Elon, which when he says he's surprised if it won't be within 5 years, I believe it. He's quoted saying, "If you give yourself 30 days to clean your home, it will take you 30 days. But if you give yourself 3 hours, it'll take 3 hours. The same applies to your goals, ambitions, and plans."
That is facts. I get my house clean faster in the 10 minutes before somebody shows up than I do all week.
Well, I do the same thing. I'm throwing stuff under the bed and picking up
Cleaning
rugs.
is just putting shit in less obvious places.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you saw the tweet he sent to Senator Warren back after, she shared the article that he was named the Times Person of the Year, and she goes, "Let's change the rig tax code so the Person of the Year will actually pay taxes and stop freeloading off everyone else."
Oh,
and
no.
his response was, "You remind me of when I was a kid and my friend's angry mom would just randomly yell at everyone for no reason."
Okay. Now, your life would be complete if Elon and Demi Lovato got married, right? Or started dating.
Oh my God, no.
Yes, it would.
No, you, sir, have an obsession with Demi Lovato.
No,
you have an obsession with me and Demi Lovato.
No.
I don't have an obsession with Demi Lovato.
I just find it funny that you have an obsession for Demi Lovato. And I loved it.
I find it hilarious.
Me too. And I love that one email last week where the guy said that, he was wondering what was wrong with him now because he was a fan of yours. And then, yeah, that was a good one. Moving on.
Second story, although I don't know if I should save this and the other one for Antarctica.
Probably.
I think I will.
Yeah, we're doing great on time. We've got plenty. If you want to, save it, because in segment 3, I really want both of your guys' thoughts on the story I'm going to share with you and get your opinion on.
Okay. Well, then I'll just share this quick snippet. Have you heard about the NASA solar probe touching the sun?
Yes, but I have not read anything on it, but I have heard about it.
So a flocker sent it to me. I think it was Marcy, and she found this TikTok and the video. I'll send it to you, Goose, because I have it in my telegrams. And they play it back real slow, but there's actually something coming out of the sun, which supports my theory in that the sun is a portal and it doesn't actually produce heat and light. It allows it to pass through when it's open.
Wow. No, I have saw pictures over the internet. I guess it was last year. There was this one black unidentified object that was almost close like to the center of the sun, and nobody could explain what it was.
Yeah.
It was, and I think it may have been triangle shaped.
Goose, I'm going to send this to you. I'm going to forward it to you in Telegram right now.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So you have it. You got to watch it till the end, because they slow it down and they zoom in on it.
And you can actually see it. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, the story that he shared there, have you followed that? Do you know how the hell did they make stuff that will withstand the heat and all that stuff
I wasn't listening to what he read. I was dealing with the tiny psycho, so I do apologize. Are we talking about the sun still?
Yeah. The craft that got pictures and so forth that he just talked about. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Of torch. What's the title? Solar probe takes an insane video of it touching the sun. I don't think that the sun actually produces heat and light. How can they touch it if it's a portal?
Yeah. Very, very, very true. I'm going to talk real quick about Albert Einstein and President Truman. Even though the Pentagon claims it doesn't know what UFOs are, that's what they claimed, and they still claim. Back in the 50s, a confrontational policy that goes back to 1952, when then President Harry Truman rescinded a direct order to shoot down UFOs after a lot of them were spotted and sighted in Washington, D.C. and throughout the United States that year. Truman rescinded his shoot-down order, according to a recently discovered historical report, because renowned scientist Albert Einstein and other esteemed academics told the president that order was not a good idea. This began with World War II Foo Fighters. The direct presidential involvement in the flying saucer situation for President Truman began in 1949 when he commissioned a study into the Foo Fighters UFOs that plagued both sides of World War II. The Foo Fighters were meter-wide balls of light that paced both the German and Allied planes during the war. Both sides of the war considered the possibilities that the objects were secret weapons being used by the other side. The issue of what the objects were never really resolved during the war. So basically, Truman he wanted people to shoot him down, and then once the scientist and Albert Einstein stepped up, told him that wouldn't be a good idea, he rescinded that order. This article goes on to say that on April 17th, 1950, Truman sends word through press secretary that he knows nothing about flying saucers. And in July 1952, the order was to shoot down flying saucers. There were a large rash of sightings in 1952 and two very public waves of UFOs being tracked from three different locations that flew over the White House, the Capitol, and the Pentagon on July 19th and July 26th. The Air Force conducted a major investigation into the appearance of the objects. The UFO sightings were headlined in newspapers all over the country, and some places replaced the Democratic National Convention on the front page. A massive buildup of sightings over the United States in 1952, wrote Gerald Haynes in an article for the CIA, especially in July, alarmed the Truman administration, and he was advised not to shoot these down, that he could inadvertently start an intergalactic war. Going back to 1952, with these flying over the White House and the Pentagon and stuff, what's your thoughts on those? I mean, that was not, at that time, the way that they flew and hovered, that was not any other country's technology. That was, and I still believe that was something that was not from this planet. What's your take, Rebecca?
I completely agree with you. And if you haven't watched Stolen History yet, it's in my link tree. Have you watched it? It's a little slow, but once you get through it, because that ties into the reason that all of the wars started to begin with, because it wasn't actually because of the war. It was to distract and bring resources down and right again, watch this hand while this hand does something else, right? Like we're going to war because we need to suppress the people more because we have to cover all this up. And then that also ties into the mud flood, right? And like all of the architecture and the buildings and everything like that. And if you look at old photos, right? Like really old photos, they're photoshopped. They are fucking photoshopped because if you think about it, like flying technology and all of that, like think of the Wright brothers. Nobody was super excited about that. Why? Because it was already a thing.
Right.
It was already a thing. And I think that they're trying to cover up. I believe that aliens and all of that have been mistaken for gods throughout history, throughout religion. I believe that we are aliens to some degree, right? That we're from a different fucking planet.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
So I completely agree with you, Goose. I think that they have been trying to cover this up for so long to keep us suppressed and in control and in servitude.
Dirtydan, what do you think?
For the part of the story that I heard, I'm in agreement with what she said about it being photoshopped and fake.
The Truman presidency rescinding his order to shoot down what now is revealed as intergalactic war.
That was my Truman story I've been wanting to hear that I missed.
That's all right. You can watch the replay.
Thanks.
Basically, when he put that order in effect, Albert Einstein and other scientists got in contact with him, and they told him that would not be a good idea, that he would inadvertently, start an intergalactic war. And based on what they told him and the information he had at the time, he rescinded the order. And that was a historical document that has just now came to light.
So speaking of historical documents, and this is something that I want to dive in further, but I do want to share with you guys. I'm going to have to sneak past you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're totally fine.
We're still like trying to figure out the.
You're totally fine. Oh.
So I have. We can talk about the story later, but I got gifted a fuck ton of books.
Okay.
And I finally unpacked like a metric fuck ton. I have like an original print encyclopedia from the 80s, and some other like really good fucking books. I also have this one is from 1935, and it is a comic book.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you come, and this is an original print too, there's only one copyright date in it. What else I have, which I find interesting, is this one right here. It's a very, very, very old fucking book. And on the binding, I can't even read it.
That was weak, Dirtydan. I would be ashamed to even burp if I couldn't do it louder than that.
I didn't say anything. I was ashamed of it, all right?
So this is the American process, or the great events, or the great events of the greatest century, also including life delineations of our most noted men. And this is an original print published in Springfield, Massachusetts from 1892. And it goes through pretty much like the history of everything, the birth of the new republic, the first American naval victory, Cornwall's surrender, the formation of the Constitution, the greatest battles in the Indian Wars, founding of the national capital. I mean, there is some Lincoln's assassination is in here. Like, it's fucking intense. I haven't looked through it yet. Like, I just found this last night, but I'm excited to dive into that.
Right.
The other thing that I found, which this is going to tie into our Antarctica episode, and I know Antarctica is something that always gets brought up in our show, but I have this.
That's awesome.
So what's cool about this is a second edition, printed in the United States from 1935. And what's interesting is all of the, I'm going to try and be very careful with it because the binding is breaking, but all of the maps, can you see this?
Yes.
All of the maps are like normal maps, right? Like they look pretty normal. Now you get to the Antarctica map, which is page 107. I know this because I fucking scoured this book last night. It's like a flat earth map, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So I'm very curious about all of this. So that was my other story that I wanted to share, was like these very, like, you can't find this shit online anymore.
Right.
Like these are fucking books from the 1800s and 1930s. They haven't changed stuff yet.
The other story I had was about NASA, and they have finally, I think, confirmed the possibility of a parallel universe in Antarctica. I'm going to save that for the Antarctic episode. We need to sit down and plan a date for the Antarctic episode.
Yes.
Maybe like the first or second Sunday in January. That way that'll give us time to get everything together, and we do the Antarctica episode then. But the story I was going to talk about, I think it was 2011 or 2012, they found an unexplainable energy field, like electromagnetic field, that shouldn't have been in this particular part of Antarctica. And I think that they have finally said that it's possible that is a doorway to a parallel universe. But like I said, I'm going to save that story for when we do the Antarctica episode. We're going to go straight into segment 3, if that's okay with you guys. And I'll share this.
Yeah, we're good.
And I'll share a story with you real quick. And I saw this on TikTok, and I started doing a little research on it. And there was a lady who was thinking that maybe she is in another dimension. And I'll tell you the story. She says, and I found this really fascinating. So after I tell you the story, I want your guys' thoughts on this. She was driving on a country back road, and this was over the last month. And she said, her and her 3-year-old daughter were in the car, and she knew that she was about 2 miles from the turnoff to her house. Well, before they got to the turnoff, she felt this rush of energy and adrenaline, as she described it. And when she realized what had happened, she had drove 15 miles past her turn, and she had a really bad headache. Okay, now since this happened to her, she noticed little changes in everything. And her daughter started saying that Mommy crashed. Mommy crashed the car. Well, obviously she didn't crash the car, but would it be possible, let's say, if she did crash the car and went to another dimension, that would explain the rush of energy, that would explain her head hurting and her 15 miles out of the way and have no memory of it. What's your thoughts, Rebecca?
My thoughts? Okay. I'm like chomping at the bit here. There are several different dimensions and parallel universes. And I truly believe that like near-death experiences, or, you know, all of a sudden you're like fucking with your radio and something tells you to look up at like the last possible second, right? Or like you have these thoughts of like, you see it, right? Like, oh my God, like I remember talking to Chris and telling him like, hey, I need to get one of those window breakers. Like if my truck ever like fucking yeets itself off a bridge into a lake, you know what I'm saying? Like I need one of those because I saw it fucking happen in my head. So what if those moments, you know, missing your turn, you know, taking these different roads or like having this surge of energy and these moments or these real life dreams where something traumatic happens, it did. And it bounced you into another reality so that traumatic event didn't have to happen.
Well, and I've had what are the
So there's premonitions and then there's deja vu. So deja vu, I believe the best way that I've been able to explain deja vu is your current self transferring into your future self, which is remembering the past, which is why everything is so familiar, like down to what people are wearing, how you're holding your cup, what you're saying, like the noise around you, like all of it.
Right. And what I found, and she said, I mean, people had commented on her video, and I have it saved. I'll have to go back and look and send it to you guys. People were asking her, were there and she was saying that there were little things different, like her mom's phone number was, a couple of digits different than what she remembered. And, she has no memory of, about 18 miles. So you're looking at about probably 20, 25 minutes she can't account for. She just had a really bad headache, a rush of energy, and her 3-year-old daughter is now saying that mommy crashed the car. But the car is not crashed.
Kids know. I have chills talking about this. Kids know. And until they are open to, like our daughter, she knows everything. She has all of the fucking universal answers. And I am trying my best to preserve that, right? Because kids know everything. And it's just the societal cookie cutters and the ideologies and the fucking, rose-colored glasses that they put on these kids and the indoctrination that takes that ability away from them. And then we become these fucking teenagers and we have these moments. And that's why we're so terrible at teenagers, because we're resisting the programming. We're like, this isn't right. This isn't right. And now as adults on these spiritual journeys, we're like, holy fuck, right? We're having these moments. But I totally agree. In tapping into another dimension, that also taps into the Mandela effect, right?
Right.
Where these mass groups of people remember it being a certain way. And him and I are from a different reality because there were 4 people in the car. There were 4 people in the car when JFK got assassinated. It was 4.
6.
And I will die on that hill.
You're going to die on that hill then. It was 6.
That's fine. I won't be alone.
Yes, Dirty Dan.
So what, right after we got married, we had stopped in a town I had never been to before on the way back because the AC was broken. And we were standing out back, gorgeous mountain valley view. And I heard what I identified to be an 03 to 05 Dodge Cummins having fun somewhere out there.
There was all these switchbacks and down the mountain.
We had never been there, had no idea where we were. I heard a wreck. I looked at my phone. We hopped in the car after 30 seconds because I didn't hear any sirens yet. And I drove right to this place.
There was no way he could have known.
And it was an 03 to 05 Dodge Cummins dually sitting upside down on this back road.
Yeah.
Wow. And, and what I'm about to say, and I need to look this up, but I remember in 99, 2000, when I first, started getting online a whole lot, there was a site called Wahoo, WAHOO.com. It was similar to Yahoo, but there's some people that don't remember that, but I do remember that.
I remember that. Do you remember Ask Jeeves?
Yes.
And it was a butler who would Google shit for you?
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
I remember Wahoo.
Okay. So we're good because I'm not crazy. But what I found fascinating about that story is that, it's possible that mother and daughter went through and went to another dimension. And the one that they were in, the mom crashed. So the mom crashed the car.
I was in a really bad car accident when I was younger. I was about 13, and it was my first night babysitting away from the house. And I got in a really bad car accident, and about 10 houses down from my house. And basically, Jim was driving back in his truck, and this little tiny car blew past the stop sign and T-boned, and it wedged under the truck, flipped the truck slid 510 feet on the roof. And it was really bad. It was bad. And I swear to God that I died in that car accident. I didn't make it out because before that, I don't have many memories. I struggle to remember my childhood before that. I struggle to the only reason that I even know that story is from people telling it to me. You know what I'm saying? Right. I have no memory. The only thing that I remember is burning brakes. If I smell burning brakes now, it immediately flashes me back to that.
So here's a picture of that view from.
Do you want help?
I gotta turn my brightness up.
I can see it. that's a pretty view.
Oh yeah. nothing, and then heard it. Oh, you want me to show the Instagram?
Yeah.
Raise it up just a little bit. I can't see it.
He's showing Instagram.
Okay.
We were the second person there. The first person just happened to be driving that way to go home or whatever from traffic. But I drove right to that.
Wow. And you'd never been there before?
Never been there.
No, the only reason we were living in North Carolina at the time, and we went to the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee to get married. And we were coming back from Tennessee, and we were staying with my mom at the time, and she called me and she's like, hey, just so you know, and we were living in North Carolina in the middle of summer. And she was like, hey, just so you know, the AC died. And we're like, yeah, fuck that shit. So we stayed in a hotel for the night because we didn't want to sleep without AC.
Right.
It's hot. So we just found this like weird, like mountaintop motel. Like we were a little sketched out about it, but it was dope as fuck. And then we were just sitting outside, and that view was right over the railing on the back, and we heard that crash. And then we kind of like looked at each other, and he was like, you want to go? And I was like, fuck yeah, I want to go. And we went and literally found it. Like he didn't make any wrong turns. He didn't second guess himself. It was like and he does that shit all the time. I'm directionally challenged. I can't find my way out of a wet paper bag. All right. Up is north. This guy's like, oh yeah, you're going to take the left, and then 3.4 miles down after that, you're going to turn at this big fuck. I'm like, can you just give me the address, please? And Waze can tell me where to go.
Well, guys, this has been great. We're going to wrap things up. I want to remind everyone that we will have upcoming new episodes of the Midweek Moment. Get Real with Goose and Rebecca. Honestly, Get Real with Goose and Rebecca. When we'll have those, we don't know exactly yet, but very, very soon. And don't forget please add Dirtydan on TikTok for Cooking with Dirtydan. He will teach you how to set it and forget it. Right, Dirtydan?
My plump sausage coming up.
Oh, my God.
But, Dirtydan, we're going to close things out. Do you want to tell the fine folks that are listening to our show about Carbon Capture Shield?
Yep, I am pulling up.
He's struggling.
DJ's excerpt.
He's on the struggle bus this morning.
He's always on the struggle bus.
I drive the struggle bus. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, move over, Oprah. I'm driving. It's the only thing I don't like.
So while he's looking that up, honestly, Get Real.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
We definitely
Go ahead.
Hopefully we'll get that picked back up very, very, very soon. It may be like the first week of January before I'm able to.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a lot of my stuff, like I'm coming back strong, but it's quality over quantity, right? So like I want to make sure that I'm solid in my things.
Right.
So yeah, let's shoot for after the first of the year, coming back with Honestly Get Real. You also have to find my shadow made a TikTok. It's called Meet Bertha.
Oh,
that's fun.
I was actually getting ready to plug that. I like the Meet Bertha. Meet Bertha TikToks.
Yeah.
And that's meat spelled MEET. Meet Bertha.
Yes, not my meat, but meat.
Like a meet and greet. Oh
yes.
My God. Why did you have to bring it there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go
man.
ahead. Talk about your capture shield. Jesus Christ.
So Carbon Capture Shield was founded and started by our good show friend and personal friend now, DJ Nicky, or Dale J. Nicky II. Carbon Capture Shield is intending to transform 1 billion acres of Earth into regenerative land that restores the health of our natural environment, starting in your own backyard. By restoring the biological life in the soil, we jumpstart the natural processes which sequester greenhouse gases, break down pollutants, all while feeding and protecting your lawn from below. Go check them out at lawn.carboncaptureshield.com. Get your VIP spot. It is a product that is less money than the toxic chemicals you buy for fertilizer that kills everything and causes all sorts of cancer and diseases. It is a natural product, and it's a bountiful and plentiful product. Everybody can help by simply just doing what they already do for spending less money and making the earth a better place. Again, lawn.carboncaptureshield.com. Don't forget Till Valhalla Project. I heard Goose struggle with that in the previous episode. Heard got to help him out so bad.
I got tongue tied, brother.
Go check them out. It's about the message, not the merch. It just helps spread it. And then check out Adventures with Purpose. on YouTube or adventureswithpurpose.com. And coming up next week, we're going to have our fourth organization to mention, and that's going to be Battle Buddy Response Team Incorporated. They're a good group of people, so make sure you tune back in next week to start hearing about them.
I want to say special thanks to Carlin for all the voiceover work. Be sure to check out and support friends of our show that have their own shows. I'm talking about CK and Uncle Bill over at deadpicket.com. Talk Junkie with Justin Perkins. Jordan and Brad have Down on the Holler. Seth Embergy with Seth's Daily Podcast. Elliot Gertie and Beagle of SpookyFamilyPodcast.com. The Mountain Mysteries Podcast with Chris Sloan. And you can check out the Paranormal Trucker Podcast over at YouTube. And if you want to awaken more, be sure to check out Rebecca Short on TikTok. She goes by...
Okay, so it's Short Shit Show 138, Queen Flocker, and Meet Bertha.
Your Queen Flock 138 still shows up too.
Well, that one's still active, but I got permanently banned, so I can't log into it anymore.
Okay. And on Twitch, what is the...
Twitch is Queen of the Flock 138. I've kind of taken a step back away from Twitch though. Yeah, so.
Okay. Oh,
sorry.
Well, that'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week, and until then, so long for now.
Maybe I'm not leaving. Maybe I'm just going home.
Thanks for listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. Tune in next time as we dive deeper into things the government doesn't want us to know.